Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jeff J. Brown, China Rising Radio Sinoland in Chiang Mai, Thailand. And as you can see behind me, my wife and I are kind of sort of getting moved in. I tell you, we've done a number of international moves in our life together. I tell you what, it's a lot of work moving from one country to another. Very, very informative and perceptive article and podcast today. Please share it. It is definitely worth talking about. Huawei offers to tie both arms behind the back so the West can compete. Huawei is the dominant global 5G player. It offers to sell its core technology and share its 5G stations around the world with the country that had the founder's daughter, Meng Wanzhou, kidnapped and imprisoned? What? It's true. Huawei founder Zhen Zhengfei said he is ready to sell Huawei's 5G tech to Western buyers. He clearly means Apple. In April, he offered to sell its 5G chip, which Apple sorely needs to remain relevant in global mobile tech. Apple CEO Tim Cook, who is a very astute businessman indeed, didn't seem to bite, at least publicly, as I'm sure the Western deep state would crush the deal, as is explained why below. Zhen loves Apple phones, buys them for his family, asked Baba Beijing not to punish Apple, and said Apple is Huawei's teacher, which in Chinese culture is the ultimate compliment. That's one arm tied behind the corporate back. Huawei is willing to tie its other by sharing its 5G stations with competitors around the world. It made this very uncapitalist announcement at the just concluded World Energy Congress 2019. Zhen Zhengfei said all of this would help level the playing field in global telecommunications. In other words, Huawei is the only turnkey total 5G provider on the world stage, yet it is willing to tie both arms behind the back as a gesture of China's millennial win-win business and mutually beneficial cooperation so that humanity can progress. Every capitalist on earth would use this opportunity to create a monopoly, fix prices, and plunder the planet. It's their modus operandi. Always has been, always will be. In spite of the mobster sanctions coming out of Washington, Huawei is thriving in 5G, microchips, mobile tech, and keeps on reporting healthy profits. Why? Because it is a 188,000 employee-owned company based in communist socialist China. Imperial capitalist Euranglo land can't compete against communism, socialism. End of story. This truism is reinforced by Huawei's generous offers. Zhen obviously has tremendous confidence in his company, its leaders and employees, as well as China and its outstanding, responsive, citizen-oriented governance and democracy. But it gets juicier. Read on. Zhen is even trying to allay the West's fears that it cannot watch and record every sentient being on planet Earth. In offering Huawei's total package, he said, and I quote, "When we transfer the tech, they can modify code on top of my tech. Once that's through, it's not only shielded from me, it's shielded from everyone else in the world. US 5G will be their own thing. There's no security concern. The only concern will be the US keeping American companies which bought it in check." This means Huawei is ready to sell its licenses, codes, patents, and blueprints so U.S. companies can make 5G that the CIA, NSA, DIA, and the rest of Western spydom can vacuum to watch and record your every move. This would mean we would have two world 5G systems, Western empires and China's. Neither could spy on the other. This is why the global elites are doing everything they can to threaten, extort, and blackmail its client states, which includes Urangloland, Israel, Japan, South Korea, and all the others, not to use Huawei's 5G tech. Otherwise, those countries' citizens would be able to go to the bathroom and make love without Five Eyes recording them every second of the way. Zhen even offered to sign a no surveillance, no spying, no back doors pact with each country. Get a load of that. This is what Zhen meant when he said, the only concern will be the U.S., and I added, meaning Five Eyes, keeping American companies which bought it in check, emphasis mine. He knows the West's deep state is going to put back doors in all the equipment used among their cowed and browbeaten, quote, allies, read vassal states. A few U.S. lapdogs are trying to keep working with Huawei, as they too are sick and tired of their leaders, governments, businesses, and people being probed 24/7 with an espionage proctoscope up their collective backsides. Germany, France, and other doormat states have caught Five Eyes listening to their leaders' phone calls and know it is still snooping across the board in government and corporations in spite of all the public denials. Instead, they can jigger Huawei's 5G to keep out Baba Beijing and know that Angela Merkel and Emmanuel Macron, or two CEOs, can have a conversation that is not being saved onto the CIA's and NSA's computers to use for bribery, extortion, and blackmail throughout their halls of government and business. For the West, the only solution to maintain its global, Orwellian, Big Brother, corporate police state is to try to destroy Huawei and keep the whole planet, outside of China, from using its world-beating communication technology. This is why Five Eyes is trying to force anyone and everyone to use Western suborned companies like Apple, Ericsson, Samsung, Nokia, Cisco, and others, since they cannot say no to the CIA, NSA putting in back doors in the name of, quote, national security. And after that, I put in parentheses SIC, sick, the Latin term for hard to believe, or that's the way it was said. Thus, the Western deep state will likely publicly ignore and behind the scenes fiercely resist Zhen Zhengfei's visionary win-win offers. The West has no vision, just quarterly stock reports and golden parachutes. The Prior's information vacuuming is not just to terrorize the West's citizens into fascistic sheeple, but it is also used to blackmail, extort, and bribe corporate competitors into sanction and coercion traps to steal their assets for pennies on the dollar. This is very bitterly spelled out in Frederic Pierucci's new book, The American Trap. Quote, allied, end of quote, companies are at the top of the list. Never forget the CIA was founded by a capitalist gang of hoodlum Wall Street lawyers. But then again, I repeat myself. This is Jeff J. Brown signing out. Please share. Please make a donation, if not to China Rising Radio Sinoland. Get over to the Greenville Post and make a donation there, because Patrice, the editor-in-chief, who pays to have this website kept running, is paying interest to ravenous private banks in the United States to keep our websites running. Thank you.